Hey guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Chris and I just got done seeing Halloween. So Halloween is a direct sequel to the 1978 horror classic Halloween. It has been 40 years since the babysitter murders, and Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode, has gone through some up and downs in her life, but most recently has achieved the status of mother and grandmother. She lives pretty secluded, heavily armed, has separated herself from family just because she's obsessed with Michael Myers and what he did to her back in 1978. But as we later find out, all her hard work and preparation has paid off because Michael Myers has escaped from the asylum and has come back to haunt her and her family. And that's all pretty much to say without giving any spoilers to you guys. This is a spoiler-free review. I'm just going to tell you what I liked about the film, what I didn't like, hit you with a rating system just like this one, breaking down the elements of the film and giving you a final ranking. Now, to me personally, I never got into the character of Michael Myers or his movies. Nothing against the character or people who love them. Most of the horror icons I love that you can see on this wall are characters I saw between the ages of 6 and 12. So if I happen to watch a horror movie within that period, I most likely love it to this day. Then later watching the original and finding what the character is truly about and what people really like about him, but I have yet to fall in love with the character, and this 2018 movie makes me fall in love with Michael Myers. Let me go into some of the positives of this movie. Now, I thought it was really interesting that Danny McBride, out of all people, would be one of the ones to heavily motivate to get this movie up and running. Him and director David Gordon Green really understand the character of Michael Myers and knew exactly what to bring to the big screen to make us love him again. Because you gotta be honest with yourself, the slasher genre has been dead for a while. I don't think it's been up and kicking since Scream back in 1996, sorry. Ever since then, slasher movies have been purely generic, formulaic, and just filled with cliches that are not interesting, and studios really don't have an interest in taking that out there. If you actually rank up the latest slasher movies, I guarantee you they're all either straight to Netflix or straight to DVD, not really on the big screen. But this movie figures out how to bring the old and the new and make it something entirely different that could possibly revive the genre. I enjoyed what they did with the character of Michael Myers. I was worried about his age, being that the movie's 40 years later and Michael's ranking up 60 years old, but they play along with that in a way, not hiding the fact he's an old guy, and they really do a good job of that. It was awesome they brought back Laurie Strode. Jamie Lee Curtis does her best performance as this character, way better than she did in any of the previous Halloween movies. And I was very skeptical about her being back into the franchise, because if they did away with all the sequels, that means Michael only really killed 5 people and had one night of terror. And just like a character says in this movie, it's not really a big deal with everything that's happened in 2018. So the fact that she's so obsessed with it, the fact that she's so heavily armored about it, just didn't make sense to me. But the movie explains it well, and it even calls itself out on its BS. I love that this movie is self-aware. I love that it plays on respecting the genre but bringing something new. The best way I compare this movie is the way The Force Awakens brought Star Wars back in Episode 7. It tells almost the exact same story from 1978, but adds enough new elements and new characters and new possible storylines that it makes you pretty excited for the possibilities. The deaths in this movie were creative. They didn't rely on jump scares. They had genuine moments of suspense, of thrills, of you rooting for both Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers at the same time. This movie had a lot to pull off, and it really worked out, and I am now a big fan of this franchise, and you can see Michael Myers popping up here very soon. But jumping off that into the negatives, the things that really did bug me, there are things where they play out cliches of a classic horror slasher movie, characters falling over, making stupid decisions, doing this when they really should have been doing that. I want to chalk it up to the movie does it on purpose, sort of referencing what the franchise is like, and then seemingly subverting expectations, but it happened a little too many times that it got me thinking, I don't know if this is really paying an homage or the film is just really going with this again. That and the new psychiatrist in this movie, the Michael Myers doctor, the new Loomis. He has a key role in this movie that I did not mind. I thought was interesting what they did with it. But the way his character plays out and the execution of it seemed kind of sloppy and kind of rushed. I'm not hating on what they did or what they were planning or what they were going for with his character. I think that's actually kind of awesome and in line with some of the old Michael Myers movies. But the way they executed it just seemed like very convoluted to get Michael to a certain point. That's really my biggest negatives with the movie. One of them is just sort of a nitpick of generic cliches of the genre, and the other one is sort of a key role that bugs me. I'm cool with it, but the execution of it just did not play out well and seemed more like a convoluted plot device. Other than that, super happy with the remake. Highly recommend it to anybody who wants some good thrills, good moments of suspense, a good laugh here and there, characters you actually care about, characters you don't want to see die, and a horror icon brought back to life in a very respectable and frightening way. For 2018's Halloween, I'm gonna give action 1.5 stars. You do have moments of gunplay and Laurie going toe-to-toe with this killer. Comedy in the film, I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. There were genuine moments of comedy, especially through a little kid that one of the characters is babysitting. He is hilarious and I think a great representation of these little Fortnite kids we have out there now. Drama in the film, I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I think they did a good job of expanding the mythology of Michael Myers, explaining what Laurie's been doing all these 40 years, and building these characters and a story you're actually interested in. Horror in the film, I'm gonna give it 3 stars. There are moments where you become frightened of Michael Myers and where he could possibly be in a room, where he's gonna jump out, or how he's gonna kill somebody on screen. And suspense in the film, I'm gonna give it 4 stars. There were literally moments in this movie where my stomach felt sick from the suspense in this movie, particularly in the final act, but the movie does a great job throughout the rest. Casual fans, I'm going to give it an A. Cinephiles, I'm going to give it a B-. And critically, I'm going to give it a B-. For 2018's Halloween, I recommend you add this to your collection at home.
That's a keeper.
But that's just my opinion on the film, guys. Let me know what you thought about Halloween if you got around to see it. Where do you think the sequel possibilities are for this? They do end it in sort of a way where we know Michael could probably survive. And the characters left over that didn't bite the bullet, would you want to see them carry on the franchise? Also, I'm going to be making an ending explain an Easter egg video. If anyone's interested in that, I'll link it in the description or card right above me. Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Film Review. But as always, guys, I'm Chris. Take care.